Okay, are we live? Okay, thank you very much. We are live. So I again welcome you to today's session of West Meets East. This has been going on for the third year running in Dhaka International Film Festival. It was aimed to bridge the gap between West and East. Especially a film festival is a platform where filmmakers have chance to meet and exchange their ideas. And we thought that it would be a very good idea to give them a specific platform where they can share ideas and also listen from the experts and professionals who have been working in this circuit for many years. It is a session which we intend mainly for the young filmmakers, though our session today is intended for the smart filmmakers. It is called Film Festival Strategy for Smart Filmmakers. And the person who is going to deliver this presentation today is the only, I think, she's the very capable person because she's Meenakshi Shetty. She's a film curator, consultant, journalist, and also the India South Asia delegate for Berlin International Film Festival. She now is involved with Berlin Film Festival, but she has been involved with many other festivals earlier, both Indian and international. So I think that she's the right person to give idea how to create a film festival strategy. So I will not speak more. I will give this platform to Meenakshi. Please, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank Ahmad Mustafa Zamal, the festival director of the Dhaka International Film Festival, for inviting me here. Dhaka is a city I'm very, very, very attached to, and it's heartbreaking that I can't be there with you, but my heart is very much with all of you. Thank you also to Sadia Khalid Riti for coordinating and organizing this session, to Sydney Levine for a lot of support along with Anindita Chaudhary, and two very special people who've supported us on the technicals, that's Ghalib and Sadiq Sami. So thank you to all of you, and thank you to everyone in the audience who's turned up early morning to listen in. I'm very grateful that you could join us this day. I'm going to be talking about, in the session, West Meets East, on film festival strategy for smart filmmakers. I think all filmmakers, it's always on their mind what happens when their film is made, especially if they make independent films. They are anxious if they don't have Shah Rukh Khan in it, how they're going to get it out on the festival circuit. But I also wanted to clarify that actually the festival circuit is primarily a platform, not only to showcase your film, yes, of course, show it to the world, hopefully win awards, but it's really to actually get money back to the producer, to expand your non-traditional base. So commerce is very much, as I see it, as at the end of the process, and film festivals are only a means to reach that. So those who think that this is art and that is commerce, in my opinion, can actually use it for a lot more than just being at a festival and winning an award, which already is a heroic achievement. But really, if you're able to see it as part of a larger process, you will benefit much more from being at film festivals. So I'll plunge right away into the talk. In this particular lecture, since it's for the Dhaka Film Festival, I've oriented a little more for also our audience that's in Dhaka right now, the Shilpakala Academy, as well as to our online audiences everywhere in India and worldwide. But some of the references are a little more connected with films and filmmaking in Dhaka and in Bangladesh. Celebrating Bangladesh cinema internationally. In fact, at the 51st International Film Festival of India, IFFI Goa, which is on currently and online, which is currently in Goa as well as online, directly concurrently running with the Dhaka International Film Festival from Jan 16 to 14. Bangladesh is actually the country focus, and we are very honored that it is so. Rubaiyat Hussain, Bangladeshi filmmaker, is also on the international jury of IFFI Goa. And the films in the country focus include Jibon Dhuli by Tanveer Mukammal, Under Construction by Rubaiyat Hussain, Megh Malar by Zahidur Rahman Anjan, and Sincerely Yours Dhaka, the 11 film anthology, which is also Bangladesh's Oscar entry. All these films are being shown as part of this country focus at IFFI Goa. Looking out, looking in, Also alongside another example of close ties between the Bangladesh and Indian film industries, Rizwan Shehryar Shumit's debut feature, Nona Joler Kabbo, The Salt in Our Waters, it won Best Film in the Asian Select NetPack section at the Kolkata International Film Festival just last weekend. Congratulations to Shumit, and we're very proud that this very, very modern Bangladeshi film won this prize, richly deserved. It's about how climate change affects a small village in Bangladesh, and it's about the friction between tradition and modernity, and very, very, very delicately explores a tender love story. The film festival is also at the Gothenburg Film Festival in Sweden. And very interestingly, it is shot by a woman cinematographer from Thailand who's now based in Los Angeles, Chananun Chotrungroj. It already has a sales agent on board Film Republic, a very prestigious London-based sales agent. Shumit studied at the New York University's Tisch School for the Arts in the US, and he has also participated earlier in the Berlinale Talents of the Berlin Film Festival, in Global Media Makers by Film Independent in Los Angeles, the Torino Film Lab, and Marshall. So he's a very globally savvy and experienced young filmmaker, and this is his debut film. So I'm mentioning these things as it's an example of how the contours of Bangladeshi cinema and its presence in world cinema and at world film festivals is changing very rapidly. I'm just stepping back a moment for a little perspective. Bangladeshi cinema has been at film festivals for many decades now, but one of the major milestones it achieved was with Tariq Masood's Matir Moina, The Clay Bird, which won the Fipresci Prize in the Director's Fortnight at Cannes in 2002. So we're about 19 years old now. Next year will be 20 years since this major milestone. And we will also get to see in the course of my lecture and presentation, a reminder with specific examples of how far Bangladeshi cinema has made its mark in world cinema and at festivals worldwide. The Dhaka International Film Festival director Ahmad Mustafa Zamal Shobanda was also on the Fipresci jury of the Cannes Film Festival, and also Sadia Khalid Riti was also on the Fipresci jury of the Cannes Film Festival. She's also organized this session. Thank you to each of you. I'd like to start with one of the most high profile and popular Bangladeshi directors whose films have been at festivals worldwide, although he's one of many, many directors in Bangladesh who've been at festivals worldwide. I can't mention all of them. I'll mention a few, but if you just Google them, you'll know a whole huge presence that Bangladesh has created, a real major and significant footprint, which many people in South Asia, in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan are not always aware of. So bear with me if I remind you of Bangladesh cinema's international achievements in this lecture. Mustafa Sarwar Farooqi's films have been at festivals worldwide. Some of these include Third Person Singular Number, which was at the Rotterdam and Busan film festivals. Television, which was in 2002, was a major breaking out film for Farooqi Das' career. It was the closing film at the Busan Film Festival, and it won the APSA Grand Jury Prize, which is the Asia Pacific Screen Awards Grand Jury Prize, which is given for best film in Asia among 70 or 80 countries in Asia. It's given in Australia. Piprabidda and Story was at the Dubai Film Festival, at APSA, and in Singapore. Do No Bed of Roses starred India's late and beloved Irfan Khan with Nusrat Imroz Tisha. It won the Kommersant Jury Prize and the Russian Film Critics Jury Prize in Moscow. Shonibar Bikil, Saturday Afternoon, also won the Kommersant Prize in the Moscow Film Festival. It's a Bangladesh-Germany co-production along with Anna Kachko's Tandem in Germany. We'll see now a trailer of Farooqi's Television, which was his breakout film. Just give me a moment. I'll show you the trailer just to remind those who may not have seen the film.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
I apologize for the ads, though.
This sentence is grammatically correct.
ইসলামে প্রাণীর ছবি হারাম ইয়াল্লাই আগু গ্রামে আমরা ছবি তুলিও না নেইও না।
কিন্তু আপনি কি মনে করেন না যে আপনি গ্রামের লোকজনদের গণতান্ত্রিক অধিকার ক্ষুণ্ণ করছেন?
ইয়ানো তো আব্বার ব্যবসা, আমি ঢাকা যাই নিজে ব্যবসা করে নিজের পায়ে খাড়াইতাম। তোমারে কিচ্ছু করার লাগতো না, তুই খালি ফোনটা না কাটি ঘরের কোনায় এমন জায়গায় রাখি তো যেন তোমার কথাবার্তা সব শব্দ শুনতে পাই। আমি তোরা ভালোবাসা, আমি তোরা ভালোবাসা, আমি তোরা ভালোবাসা, আমি তোরা ভালোবাসা, তাই লেখা।
আই তোরে ভালোবাসি না, আই তোরে ভালোবাসি না, আই তোরে ভালোবাসি না, আই তোরে ভালোবাসি না। ডায়লগ। আপনি যদি আর একবার এই নিয়ে আরে আলাপ দেন, আইসোলা বলতে কই দিন।
আই কিন্তু লনি আঙ্গ তরুণ তো টেলিভিশন দেখলে গুণা না।
এরা আসুক কিল্লাই টেলিভিশন সাউন্ডের লাই ইয়ার উঠবাস কর কানে ধরি।
এত যদি আরে বিয়ে করতে চাই হাতেরে হাতের বাপের বিরুদ্ধে খাড়াই টেলিভিশন কিনি কাজী লই আর বাড়িতে আসন লাগবো, তখন আই হাতের বিয়ে করবো।
Can you see my screen again now and hear me? Yes? Should I wait till the music is over?
Yes, we can see it. And we heard
And
the
you
audio.
can hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. You can hear me, right?
we can hear you.
Okay. What is this music though?
Who's,
Sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. I apologize for that. How to make this bigger? Okay, so actually his biggest his next film, which is No Land's Man, will actually be the big global one for Farooqida. It has Nawazuddin Siddiqui from India. It has Megan Mitchell, an Australian actress, and it's in English. And it's a US Bangladesh co-production with Dialectic Srihari Sathe from the US and Farooqida's Chabiyal Films. And very, very special. It has A.R. Rahman in a big coup, not only as music composer, but also co-producer. And we very, very much look forward to Farooqida and Bangladeshi cinema increasing its presence on the global stage. We also, this is, I'd like to talk also about Made in Bangladesh by Rubaiyat Hussain, who's currently on jury duty at the International Film Festival of India in Goa. She has a body of 3 films. This is her 3rd film. And it has a remarkable achievement by any standards. I really have trouble thinking of which Indian film has achieved everything that Rubaiyat has achieved from Bangladesh, and it's really something to be proud of. So some of its milestones are that the film premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. It is a contender. It was invited to be submitted at the Golden Globe Awards for Best Foreign Language Film. Very, very significantly, this film was released in 62 theaters in France in 2019 and in Denmark and Portugal, and deals have already been confirmed for release in the US, Canada, and Poland. I'm going to allow a few moments for that to sink in. It was released in 62 theaters in France. This is a film about Shimu, who is a worker in a textile factory in Dhaka, and who fights the exploitation of herself and her colleagues in the industry by starting a labor union. So it's not a sexy subject as such, and it doesn't have Shah Rukh Khan in it, or even Bangladesh's top stars. And yet it's a very powerful and important film And the fact that it has got such a wide release is a big inspiration to us, to everybody and every filmmaker in South Asia, because it is very difficult to get a theatrical release that's that wide in Europe. So great, more power to Rubaiyat and everybody in Bangladesh. And we hope we are able to achieve these numbers also with other films that are indie films. It's a France, Bangladesh, Denmark, Portugal co-production. And its producers are François Datemar from Les Films de l'Après-Midi from France and Ashik Mustafa from Kona Talkies. And its co-producers include Beo Film from Denmark, Myras Films from Portugal, and of course, Kona Talkies from Bangladesh. It already had a French sales agent, Pyramid International, that achieved all these wonderful things. The storyline we just mentioned, it was also on Locarno Film Festivals through the Open Doors program. And it is now available on Amazon Prime. So if you haven't seen it already, do check it out. I'm going to show you a brief trailer of the film. Give me a moment. All through ads, I'm really sorry.
হারামের পয়সা খাইতে খাইতে সারা গায়ে তেল চর্বি জমে গেছে। কয়টা পিসের উপর তোমার কাজ করে দিনে? 1650টা। তাহলে ভেবে দেখো, এরকম 2টা বা 3টা টি শার্ট তোমার 1 মাসের বেতনের সমান। কাহিনী করে আমার টাকা দেন। কামে যাও না। এটা কি হবে জানোস? এটা সাইনের বই। ইউনিয়ন রেজিস্ট্রেশনের ব্যাপারে আসছিলাম।
বেশি দৌড়াইছি না। ইউনিয়ন করতে গিয়ে বহু লোককে আমি জেল কাটতে দেখছি।
বাড়ি যাও, বিশ্রাম নাও, ভাবলেই দেখবা যে তুমি ইউনিয়নের ব্যাপারটা বাতিল করে দিলে।
না স্যার। ভালো, কিন্তু আমারে আর কামে যেতে মানা করে। ওকে তোমাকে না বলা? তোমাকে বলবা যে তুমি ইউনিয়নের প্রেসিডেন্ট হইছো। আপা আমরা মায়া মানুষ তো, ইয়া করলেও জ্বালা, না করলেও জ্বালা।
Absolutely strong and very inspiring film, which I really hope the audiences in Bangladesh especially, but definitely in South Asia, are able to see very soon. I'd like to mention also the filmmakers Arifur Rahman and Bijon Imtiaz Ahmad of the very charmingly titled production house, Goopy Baga Productions. They have a whole body of work, and the reason I mention them, not only do they have their back really interesting films, but they have a lot of cross-border co-productions within South Asia that very few people have risked, because it takes a lot of daring to and also political savvy to be able to do that. Their films include Abdullah Mohammad Saad's Live from Dhaka, that was at the Rotterdam and Singapore Film Festivals. Rokaya, the short, which was directed and co-produced by Diana Saqib Jamal, a woman director from Afghanistan, which is at the Venice Film Festival's Orizzonti. The Silent Echo, a short film by Suman Sen from India, and India, Bangladesh, France, Nepal co-production with Dominique Walensky of France, who's a very well-established and very well-respected French co-producer, French producer, and Ramkrishna Pokharel, also very well-established producer from Nepal. Bijon has himself directed Kingdom of Clay Subjects, a feature, and their more recent project Paradise was actually at the Berlinale co-production market, and it has a German producer, very well-established, a very reputed German producer Razor Films' Roman Paul that also produced the Oscar-nominated Waltz with Bashir. They also have, their projects have been at projects and films have been at the Berlin, Venice, Rotterdam, Locarno, Singapore, Shanghai, and Sheffield Doc Festival. That's really a very distinguished career and we hope them well. The reason I'm mentioning all of these to you is I want you to be on top recall how many Bangladeshi filmmakers, and I'm mentioning only a few of the very large and very thriving and very accomplished film community there is in Bangladesh. I'm mentioning only a few of them, and even of those I'm mentioning only a few of their films, but I'm just mentioning so you're aware how accomplished these people are in the World Film Festival stage. So now our main subject, how to get your film out into the film festival circuit. I'm going to share a kind of top 10 points for film festival strategy for smart filmmakers. These are kind of quite broad, ranging from very practical things in terms of submitting the form, etc., or actual submission, to a much broader experience that I have of being a programmer at many festivals worldwide, including Berlin, and being very deeply frustrated why a number of South Asian films do not get selected because of very irritating things that you do. So I'm going to give you some tips what to do and what not to do, and hopefully they'll be very of practical use to you, and you will be more successful if you're able to keep them in mind as well. So of course, first and last, it's the merit of the film that matters the most, but many small things that that would be helpful to you in actual terms of submission and making a plan, I'm hoping to share with you now so that it'll be helpful to you. So one of the first things I'd say is try to get into the system, the film festival circuit, get a foot in the door, okay? So there's a lot of information that's absolutely free on Google. It's not some rocket science. It's just, you just have to have the hunger to want to be there and just use a lot of common sense. And that's already half the battle won. I'd say start at the bottom and aim high. So some of the examples I'll give you are from the Berlin Film Festival, but almost all the major film festivals in the world, they all have not only opportunities to showcase your film, but a lot of opportunities for young filmmakers to, for example, do script mentoring for your first script, how to make turn your script into a feature film. They'll give you guidance, they'll give you mentoring. I myself am a script mentor at many festivals worldwide and many film events worldwide. There are opportunities to have co-production labs where they help you, connect you with co-production, with co-producers, with the possibility that somebody will help make your film, raise the money for it, as well as help make it an international co-production and put it out into the world. So for example, you'll know that it's not only a question of, oh my God, finally I've got my money, but oh my God, now I have to get my film into the world, get it at film festivals, get audiences all over Bangladesh, all over South Asia, all over the world, theatrically, online, and in many multimedia, so that the producer is able to recover and you're able to establish your career as an accomplished filmmaker. So start at the bottom. If you start at the top, fantastic. But if you can't, at least start at the bottom and aim high. Be very clear and focused where you want to end up. Keep your eye on the big prize is what I'd suggest. So for example, as I said, so all major festivals have many opportunities for young filmmakers starting out, even if you just have a short film or you're still making your first feature film. But I'll give you a couple of examples from the Berlin Film Festival. For example, they have a popular program, I'm sure many of you are aware of it, called the Berlinale Talents, which this year has included a number of filmmakers. I'll just mention a few. One of them is Tathagat Ghosh, who's a director and screenwriter from India. There's Kinshuk Surjan, who's made a short film, Marching in the Dark. He's a director from India who's based in Belgium in the dock station. So there are many options you can apply even within Berlinale Talents for sound, for music, for editing, direction, guidance, mentoring in different fields, including film criticism, for example, to be a film critic. There's Shuchi Talati's Girls Will Be Girls, which is in the script station. There's Abhay Kumar's Sector Quicksand, which is in the short form section, which is for short films. Once you're in there, you can aim for higher things like the Berlinale co-production market, which is like when you're making your feature to raise the money through international co-productions to give it an international platform in terms of festivals as well as an audience, apart from finding the money, of course. You can get a leg up into other sectors other many opportunities like the World Cinema Fund, of which I'll shortly tell you more details. Also, Bangladeshi filmmakers who've benefited from funds from being selected for the World Cinema Funds, and also actual film selection, of course, at festivals. What do film festivals look for? This is a question that's on the top of every filmmaker's mind. I don't think there's a clear-cut answer to that, because we're dealing with an art, a living art form. It's not like a piece of brick to say, okay, this brick is better or heavier than that brick. It involves a lot of creativity. So there's no single judgment, because it's a very subjective art form. But what I'd say at a fundamental level that most programmers worldwide look for, something that is original, that is fresh, that is surprising, that is a revelation. Tell us something new that we've not seen before or that we've not heard of before. Or if you're dealing with a subject that's already very familiar, give us insights that deal with it, the subject, in a refreshing way, or share with us some details that we had no idea about. And of course, you know this truth, and I'll say it again, that the more local you are, the more universal you are. So you don't have to have a Gora film there, a Gora character or a Britisher or some foreigner to make it global, which is what Indians used to traditionally do some years ago, try and make a story set in the British Zamana when we were still, a colony occupied by the British, to give it a global flavor, which of course is so silly, because when did you last see an Iranian film or a Korean film that has Goras in it or blonde people in it in order to get a blonde audience? Of course, you don't need that. You tell the story you really want is what I would suggest, which is my next tip. Make the film you really want. And as one more tip I'd share is to make the film you really want to see as an audience. If you're trying to second guess what the audience wants, you might not make the film you want. And it's a tricky thing, because as a programmer, for example, when a filmmaker tries to make a festival film he makes a film that the festivals want to see, he's not really making the film he wants. And programmers like myself can smell a festival film a mile away. And let me tell you, from speaking for myself, it really puts me off. I do not want to see a festival film. I want to see a film that you have made for yourself, for your audience in Bangladesh, in Dhaka, the film that you wanted to make from your heart. And that is much more likely to appeal to me than a film that is made for a festival audience. So just be honest to yourself. And I think integrity counts for a lot. And honesty to your own story that you want to tell, to the material that you want to tell, would be much more powerful in storytelling, is my suggestion. When to start planning for festival strategy? It's hard to say a good time, because film festivals connect with filmmakers earlier and earlier in the game. So of course, as we've seen, there are opportunities when you're still starting out your script for mentoring. So when it's still at a draft stage or a synopsis stage and you're making a draft already, there is help from a number of film festivals, opportunities to make it better and to raise money, etc. But once you're actually making your film, I'd say to pay more attention to it and more focused thoughts around the time you're making your rough cut, is when you need to be thinking in a more focused manner. What kind of, so the life cycle of a film starts kind of when you're kind of nearing your edit lock, and it's approximately for 1 year on the festival circuit, which means you can be on in the competition sections of festivals worldwide. You're eligible to be in the competition section of festivals worldwide, which means you can be eligible for a prize, etc., and hopefully win some prize money back for yourself and the producers. So what's important is that film festival strategy really takes time. It's not usually filmmaker so exhausted by the time the film is shot and you're in edit, etc., and so tired that you just give it to an assistant director, an AD, or some friend and say, okay, you just send it off for festival and you take this headache off me because I want to focus on something else or the film. And that might be a big mistake in my personal opinion. So you really need to plan for the time that it takes to make a festival plan, which I'll share with you now, for the expenses that it will involve. So it's not, everything is not free. You need to pay submission fees in order to submit your film to festivals. There is definitely a cost involved for the top A-list festivals. There are definitely smaller festivals that don't need it, that don't charge fees, but the A-list ones do charge submission fees to submit the film to be considered. So there's an expense involved, which you should plan for. You should plan for manpower, planning, and execution of the film festival strategy. Once you've made this 1-year strategy, who's going to actually send it off? You need to have a credit card to pay the fees online. That credit card has to be working. That you have to be keeping track of, have they received it? Has the link been uploaded? It's buffering and it didn't get uploaded. The film didn't get uploaded on the website as required. So there's a lot of technical things as well to be taken care of. So it's not you farm it off to an AD and it's done. You really need to take care of it yourself. So as I said, nearing rough cut stage is a good time, and festival alerts, you can also be informing. It's a good idea to develop relationship with festivals and alert them that you're okay in a few months or a couple of months or few weeks, your film is going to be ready, and alert them early on or when your film is likely to be ready, so that they're already mentally prepared to receive your film, and send them positive news about it, that, oh, you're excited, you're finishing it, this is what it's about. It's a subject and a treatment that's not very well known, and you're very excited to share it. Kind of prime them up to receive it when it's ready. And be aware that most festivals receive a work in progress, or like Berlin receives, we don't need a ready film in order to consider it for selection. We need an edit lock, and that's good enough. If the film is ready, so much the better, but we need just an edit lock to consider it for selection purposes. How to create a great film festival strategy. These are the very specific tips I'm sharing now. It's a combination of many different things. And if you have a pen and a paper, I'd suggest you jot some points, because the tips that I'm sharing with you are for life. If you're a filmmaker, it's for life. It's not just for the film you're thinking of making now, or you're in the middle of now, or considering this year. It's tips that you can use lifelong. So I suggest if you're able to jot a few points, it would be very helpful for you. It's a combination of many different criteria you keep in mind. And some of the key ones I'm going to share with you are, first, I'd suggest you take a look at which festivals have the top 5 filmmakers from your country and region being selected at. Google the name plus filmmaker and look at which section. For example, a few of the filmmakers we mentioned, Mostafa Sarwar Farooqi, or Qamar Ahmed Simon, or Rubaiyat Hussain, or Mahdi Hassan, or Ang Rakhain, or so many filmmakers that you have, not just Bangladeshi, but also, for example, Rituparna Ghosh, Srijit Mukherjee, Kaushik Ganguly, any of your filmmakers in South Asia. Put their name in Google, put plus film festival. You'll immediately get a long list of all the film festivals that all their films have been to. If you don't get them, you can look at IMDb, International Movie Database. If you put the filmmaker's name there, you'll get all their films. You can put the film titles plus film festivals in Google. This is just commonsensical things. You'll immediately get all the film festivals that each of the films have been to. So you'll get a long, fat list of festivals that have already received the films of many distinguished filmmakers from Bangladesh and from South Asia. So this is important because you are already have a list of film festivals that have already shown Bangladeshi films, already shown Indian, Sri Lankan, Nepali, Pakistani, Nepali films. So they're already primed. They have an openness and empathy to seeing films from this culture. Whereas from a festival that has not ever shown a Bangladeshi film, where the programmer or the festival director has never been to Bangladesh, may or may not have seen a Bangladeshi film, you're starting from zero because there's no cultural connect or emotional or cinematic connect with the filmmaking culture or the life cultures of this region. Whereas here, they've already shown these films, so they say, oh, one more film from Bangladesh. They may be interested and they may be already open and empathetic, and that's already a lot of the battle won because they're primed and open to receiving your film, right? So that is important too. So you compile this list first to start with, and that already will give you a list of, I don't know, 15, 20, 50 filmmakers, 50 film festivals maybe. Then I'd say you put in your dream run of festivals, the festivals you've always dreamed of being at. You want to walk the red carpet at Cannes or at Berlin or at Venice or Toronto, wherever it is, however ridiculous and impossible and foolish it may seem, that's not the criteria. If you dream of it, put it down. You don't want ever to say, oh yeah, I wish I had sent my film. Who knows, I might have had a chance. You don't want to live with that regret. It's just, you might not make 50 films in your career if you make 5 or 10 or 20. You want those films to have said, okay, well, I at least tried. Whether you get selected or not, it's a separate issue. At least you want to sleep well saying, you know what, I tried my best. And that's also important, I think. And it's important just for you to get the feeling you're chasing your dream. Be fully prepared to get 20, 50, 100 rejection slips before you're selected. That's okay. That's part of the game. Please consider it as a game. It's not like, oh my God, I got a rejection after rejection after rejection, right? It's not everybody who marries the first woman they've ever had a crush on in college, right? Many hearts are broken, many relationships are formed, people move on, people, relationships break, people move apart, people move away, and finally you find the person you want to marry, right? So life's like that. It's not happy, 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 and the first film you make is at the top film festival. It's a journey, it's a game. So look on it as a game that's a little naughty, that's a little adventurous, that requires a little risk, that requires a little, that calls for a little heartbreak, and also lots of fun and greatly rewarding at the end of the journey as well. So when you look at that, then, it's also a little bit of snakes and ladders, right? So take it in the spirit of a game. So your dream festivals have to be there: Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Toronto, wherever you dream of being at. Then very, very important, you need to look up something called FIAF, FIAPF, which is an international federation of film producers organizations. I put the link up for you to look at. But even if you don't access the link, just remember FIAPF, okay? So it's the International Federation of Film Producers Association. If you just put that in Google already, you'll get the link. That already, it's a body that gives accreditation to international film festivals worldwide. It has very tough and strict criteria, and very limited film festivals are able to get that accreditation. So if you get it, it's like a big deal. So already you have a list of top festivals worldwide that are very well respected in the world of film festivals. So instead of starting from zero, you have a ready-made list. You can just blindly send to that list. So the first list that's there, it has 15 competitive film festivals. A few of those are Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Locarno, Moscow, Karlovy Vary, which is in the Czech Republic, Shanghai, Montreal, Tokyo, IFFI Goa, International Film Festival of India and Goa, Mar del Plata, which is in Argentina, in South America. There are many more. These are just a few of them, just to give you a feel of, these are top. Now you might not offhand think of sending to Karlovy Vary. You might not even know where it is. If you Google it, you'll know immediately it's in the Czech Republic. Mar del Plata might not be top of your mind. It's in Argentina, but these are the most respected film festivals in the world because they are accredited. So you have a ready-made list. Please take full advantage of that. All this information is free on Google, okay? It doesn't take rocket science. It's all there on Google. There's another category on that website which says competitive specialized film festival, which means their competition section is not open to everybody, which is in the case of the ones I mentioned. Anyone can apply for the competition section as long as you're eligible for it. But here the competition section is specialized, which means there are specific criteria. So the ones in Asia, and I'd urge you to pay attention to accredited FIAF festivals in Asia. These include the Busan Film Festival, which is one of the absolutely top festivals in Asia, whose competition section is only open for first and second features. So it's not open to everybody. If you've made 5 features, you're not eligible. It's only for first and second features. The Mumbai Film Festival in India, of course, is the competition section is only for first features. The International Film Festival of Kerala is only for films from Asia, Africa, Latin America in its competition section. Kolkata Film Festival's competition is only for innovation in moving images. And there are also another category called non-competitive festivals, such as the Toronto, Rome, and Vienna festivals, which are very top. Toronto is among the very top festivals in the world. It's seen as a gateway to the North American market if you're selected there. However, it's primarily non-competitive in the sense they don't have a jury there giving the top prize to the top films in the festival, but rather it's more a popular film festival for the public to enjoy. They often have an audience award or prizes given by sponsors. I'd urge you to pay the next criteria. I'd urge you to pay a lot of attention to, which we tend to overlook because we're always running after film festivals in the West, in Europe, in Hollywood. It's usually Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Toronto. It's always in the West. But I'd urge you to pay a lot of attention to a lot of top film festivals in Asia. These are the Busan Festival in Korea, Shanghai, Tokyo, International Film Festival of Kerala, Mumbai Film Festival, Kolkata Film Festival, IFFI Goa, Hong Kong, Singapore, Melbourne. These are very important festivals. And these are already sharing our culture. They're already familiar with a lot of films from South Asia for many years and decades, I would say. So there already is a connect because we all share a similar culture with similar values and similar traditions and mythologies and histories. So, and a shared heritage. So there already is, you don't have to start from zero with these festivals. So at some level, it's already easier for them, for you to get selected. At the next level, I'll say, look for Indian and South Asian festivals overseas. So these are festivals limited to only Indian and South Asian films from the region. So you're not competing with the top filmmakers from Hollywood and France and Korea and Iran, okay? It's only from this region. So it's a little more of a level playing field in a sense. So examples are, there are many of these. Some examples are the New York Indian Film Festival, the London Indian Film Festival called the Bagri London Indian Film Festival, IFLA, which is in Los Angeles, IFF Stuttgart in Germany, River to River in Florence, Italy, Indian Film Festival, Melbourne in Australia, the Tasveer South Asian Film Festival in the US, Chicago. All these are North America. MISAF, which is in Mississauga, Canada, Darpan in Singapore. Then I'd suggest at the next level, international festivals in South Asia. So in Bangladesh, the Dhaka International Film Festival, there are many other international festivals, including Liberation Dog Fest Bangladesh, Bangladesh Short Film Forum, also other international festivals in India, in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, Afghanistan. And now once you've compiled all this list, because I've given you many layers of film festivals that you can compile, you'll have a huge list by now, maybe 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 festivals. From this, you tailor it to what you and your film actually needs. Look at the subject, looking at the level of where you feel you're more likely to fit in, where you feel more comfortable, that you might be a more comfortable fit, and where you feel, which is something that's more within something you reach. So you tailor your actual festival list where you're actually going to send it to, depending on your budget, depending on the time, depending on the cost. And accordingly, you tailor this festival list and make a shorter list of maybe 15, 20, 25, depending on how much time and money you have and to pay for the submission fees. That's the actual list you'll make. And I'll suggest you have, okay. Then as I said, you need to alert the festivals that you'll be sending out a festival link in a few weeks or a month or whatever your timeline is. Please be very aware and alert about changing eligibility rules. Not all festivals have rules set in stone. If you say, oh, Meenakshi, is my film eligible for Berlin? There is no single answer to that because there are many sections in Berlin, each with their own eligibility rules. So even within one festival, there is no single answer to that. So you need to keep looking at the eligibility rules that keep changing. But also because of COVID-19, many festivals have had a really tough time, like people in real life, and all festivals have had to adapt. Many festivals have gone online or hybrid, so they have a few events in the actual theaters as physical events, but the majority of events are online. So the eligibility criteria have adapted accordingly. So for example, one of the criteria at Berlin is we now also allow, for example, we of course always give priority to world premieres, to a good film first, but after that, if it's offering a world premiere. The next level is if it's offering an international premiere. That means it's not shown anywhere outside Bangladesh or outside your home country, okay? So now it allows, we have adapted so that you can be shown in your, at a festival or a theater in your home country, so that it's important that the producer recover money. So you can show in your home country, even at a film festival in your home country, provided it is geo-blocked only to your home country. So if it's the Dhaka International Film Festival, it's okay to show that you're still eligible for Berlin, provided you meet the other criteria, so long as the Dhaka Film Festival is geo-blocked to showing only in Bangladesh. Or if it's an Indian film festival, the festival should show only in India. So whatever your home country is, it should be geo-blocked to show only in your home country. So you're literally still offering Berlin or any other festival an international premiere, okay? Then there are different types of festivals that you can look for within that list that you compile. So you apply for the one that is most suitable for your film. So there are different kinds of festivals. There are whether it's a feature film. So there are, of course, hundreds of film festivals. So you can apply, for example, Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Toronto, Busan, etc. But there are also different kinds of festivals, which I'm just give you a quick idea what they're about. So of course, there are festivals specifically for documentaries and shorts, and documentaries and shorts can also be shown at the major festivals, which include many kinds of festivals. So for example, at the Berlin Festival, we show all kinds of films, including features, documentaries, shorts, animation films, experimental films, student diploma films, everything. Yeah, so we show the whole range. So many of these categories are overlapping, but there are also many festivals specifically for documentaries and shorts. So some of these include, there are many, just a few of these include Hot Docs in Toronto, Oberhausen, some of the more reputed ones, Yamagata in Japan, Sheffield in the UK, Clermont-Ferrand for shorts in France, Tampere in Finland, IDS FF, which is the Documentary Short Film Festival of Kerala. And also, as I said, documentaries or shorts are also shown at Cannes, Berlin, and many other mainstream film festivals for features. Specialized competition festivals. So the competition section, as I said, explained earlier, which can be, for example, only for first and second features. There are also sections for student films. So for example, the Cannes Film Festival has a Cine Fondation, which is for films sent as film school entries when students are still in film school. There are LGBT festivals for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people, the community. So for example, the Berlin Film Festival's Panorama section especially encourages high quality films which are on these themes, dealing with the themes of LGBT themes, either fiction or documentary as well. There's also the Kashish Mumbai International Queer Film Festival, and there are queer film festivals worldwide. So there are special festivals dedicated to this or sections dedicated to this. There are children's film festivals worldwide and also sections. So for example, at Berlin, there also is a section for children called Generation in the official selection. So there are very few A-list festivals anywhere in the world which have a children's film section as part of the official selection. So it's not some, distant country cousin and we have also have a children's section tossed in as an aside. It's a very important section for the festival, and we treat it with a lot of respect and love. There are also environmental film festivals. There are festivals on women's issues, or festivals for films made by women on human rights issues. There are genre film festivals on romance, drama, action. Everything is on Google. Google is your best friend, just Google it. There are also, for example, sci-fi thriller films, which can be treated in many major festivals as a midnight section with, midnight madness shown late hours, gothic horror, etc. More hot tips, what to do and what not to do. What to do when making your film festival strategy. Your film is like your daughter getting married. Find the best groom or a matching festival for your daughter yourself. Don't farm it off to an AD, because his idea of a good husband for your daughter is very different from your own idea of what you want for your daughter and who's going to make your daughter happy lifelong, okay? Because your film's journey on the festival circuit is something you're going to have for life. It will be part of your life for your film career. So please pay attention to it yourself. Somebody else can execute it, like the actual sending part somebody else can do, but the creating of the film festival strategy, please do it yourself. Plan for the time, the money for submission fees, and the manpower, as I explained. What's a good time? We dealt with it as you're nearing your rough cut is what I would suggest. You must read every single website fully from beginning till end 3 times. Make a note of all the eligibility and the requirements and alerts for follow-up. Like, okay, you have this, but you don't have this. Make a note of what you still need to prepare in order to be ready for the festival. Apply to all sections. One of the main reasons a lot of South Asian films get rejected at top festivals worldwide, including Berlin, and this is my 22nd year with the Berlin Film Festival. It's heartbreaking. Many good films have been rejected because the filmmaker only ticks off the competition section. There are at least 7-8 sections in Berlin that you can apply for, that you're eligible for and appropriate for. Please make it a point to apply for all the sections where you're appropriate. Don't just tick off everything, like if you're not a children's film festival, don't apply there because you're making them see it and you're going to get a rejection slip for nothing. But wherever it is appropriate and eligible, please apply to all the sections. There is a very good, you hugely increase the chance of being selected instead of very, as the festival see it, very arrogantly applying only for competition, you greatly increase the chances and multiply your chance of being selected in different sections. You make a double calendar list, calendar-wise, of all the deadlines of film festivals, and then a separate calendar parallelly of the actual festival date, so that you're oriented to, okay, by November, or by now we're in end of Jan, so by February I have to send XYZ, because there are kind of early bird discounts in terms of fees. And of course, always ask the festivals politely for fee waivers. I would never pay fee waivers if I were you. As much as possible, request them for a fee waiver. Very important to have very, very, very high quality international level English subtitles. If you just get your AD to do it, or somebody who knows English, cash the nearest fellow, and after you're finished, okay, my God, I have to do English subtitling, just quickly get it done in 2 days. You're doing your film, your baby, a great disservice, because English subtitling is the only way anyone in your country who doesn't know the language of the film, or anyone anywhere in South Asia or the whole world, will get to access your film only by the English subtitles. So please pay attention. And it's very crucial also for selling the film, for marketing, for television, for theatrical release, anywhere, for anyone in your country or the whole world who doesn't understand your language of the film. Okay, so please pay attention to that. Build relationships with festivals. Even if you start at the bottom, like I said, with Berlinale Talents or a script lab or a co-production, aim high. Most major festivals have sections to nurture scripts, mentoring, co-production labs. Qamar Ahmad Simon from Bangladesh, very accomplished filmmaker, of course, was at the Berlinale Talents in 2002. And in 4-5 years, 2 of his projects were selected by the World Cinema Fund. So, one was Shankhodhwani, and the other was Shunte Ki Pao, very accomplished film that's been at festivals worldwide. Are You Listening is the English title of the film. So he started out at the Talents, but being such a gifted filmmaker, and it takes a lot of effort. So he got he got money from the World Cinema Fund through a German producer who's on board, the Weidemann brothers in his case. So it also gives, widens the reach and the likely potential international audience for your film, not just to get money to make it, but also the audience for your film, and helps you find an international audience. Another tiny example I'd like to give you, Reema Das, who's a filmmaker, an Assamese filmmaker from India, a very gifted woman filmmaker who made a very lovely film, Village Rockstars, which was India's entry for the Oscar some years ago, whose subsequent film, Bulbul Can Sing, was at the Berlin Film Festival Generation section. In 2 years ago, and the very next, she got a special mention on when her film was shown, and the very next year she was invited on the international jury for the Generation section. So 1 year her film was shown there, and the next year she was invited on the international jury. So if your film is shown and people really respect your film and respect you a lot, and they feel that you're a lovely person in addition to your film being good, so it's a question of forming relationships as well, not only showcasing your film, but also yourself, and you can really go places. As I said, it was a special mention on the international jury in 2019, and by 2020, last year, she was on the international jury in that section. So festivals are mainly to market your film, expand beyond traditional markets, and recover money and make money, not just recover, but hopefully make a profit for yourself and the producers, to build contacts and to promote your film, not just to showcase it, get an award and come back, but to build a strong base for your future career in film. A tiny example, just figures for what a top festival like Berlin, what is the advantages of being at a festival like Berlin? Its visitors in theater visits was 479,365. In India, we would say 4,79,365. So it's a very popular festival. A lot of public likes to go and see it. So the tickets sold were 330,681, 330,681. Sorry, yes, that's right. 330,681. That is a hell of a lot of public coming to see the audience. So it's a wildly popular film festival, other than being very prestigious and supporting art house as well as mainstream films. The professionals who attended it, the accredited guests alone were 18,518 professional guests from 132 nations. And only the press and journalists and critics who attended it were 3,447 from 82 nations. So if your film is selected there, all of these things are there resources are there. Now it's for you to get those resources, get the press to come and see your film, go and make the contacts with the delegates, with buyers and acquisition people, with marketing people who acquire films, who can buy your film. So like by yourself sitting in Bangladesh or in India or Nepal, it's very difficult to have access to all these people. But this is what a festival does. It gives you all this fantastic international resources at your disposal. And then it's up to you to make use of it. What not to do, common mistakes that typically filmmakers make. Never enter, as I said, only for the competition section. Big, big, big no. Don't also apply to everything, every section that you can see. That's just being lazy. Just spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes reading the website. Make a note of all the section that you're eligible for and appropriate for. Like you might be eligible for the children's section, but if you're not eligible for it, don't just apply there and tick off, because you'll be collecting, because the festival also notes the names of filmmakers and notes which filmmakers are collecting these rejection slips. And it's not good for any filmmaker to collect unnecessary rejection slips. Like, so pay attention to eligibility and appropriateness. Usually the fees are, for example, in Berlin, the fees are the same whether you apply to one section or to 8. So it's not more expensive. You don't have to pay separate fees for each section, just one set of fees. So just apply to all the sections wherever you are eligible and appropriate, okay? Cautious when using Film Freeway and Without a Box and similar systems, because I'm not used this myself, but I found out from a filmmaker that whose film was very, very accomplished. It was a Bengali filmmaker, very accomplished film. And we had given it the prize at the Kerala Film Festival. And then a year later, the film was hardly anywhere and nowhere really significant. And it was so accomplished. And I said, what happened? How come film wasn't selected? He said, no, I used whatever, you know, Without a Box or Film Freeway. And he said, oh, I sent it to XYZ. So many film festivals didn't get selected. Then I said, did you send it to Berlin, for example? He said, yes. So this list of film festivals popped up and he ticked off and said, press send. So the software and the algorithm sends it, but he had no idea which section in Berlin it was sent off, whether it was sent off towards any section that was eligible. He had not even looked at the Berlin website to see what options the film could be available. So in other words, you're finding a groom for your daughter to a machine, to artificial intelligence, to an algorithm, and then you be prepared for the consequences. Like this guy told me his film was not at any major festival. And I know for a fact, some small festivals which absolutely did not do justice to its film. So you will be paying a very heavy price if you don't pay a few minutes paying attention to all the different sections in a festival that you're eligible for. You hugely multiply your chance of being selected and you'll be thrilled when it's selected, okay? A few quick tips on Bangladesh at the Berlinale, very quickly. The Bangladeshi presence in different sections of the Berlinale. So Naeem Mohaimin's Abu Ammar is Coming was at the Forum Expanded. Berlinale talents have included Rubaiyat Hussain, who's in Script Station. Humaira Bilkis was in Doc Station. Nargis Akhtar, Sayyida Nigar Banu, Saida Khalid Riti, Mohammad Barkat Hussain Polash, Ishtiaq Ziko, Rashidul Hafiz, Rizwan Shahriar Sumit, Dipankar Sengupta with Janani the Mother in Talent Project Market, different section again, Muhammad Ali Haidar, and a director Naeem Mahbub, who was co-director with Miguel Lopez Beraza in Short Film Station, making an animation film, which is a production between Belgium, Romania, Spain, and Sweden. So all kinds of exciting stuff going on. Persistence is a very important, just stay in and soldier on. You'll get hundreds of rejection slips, no problem. It's a game, it's snakes and ladders. You'll go up the ladder, you'll come down the snake. That's cool, there's still a ladder waiting at the end, continue. As I said, Kamar Ahmed Simons was in the Berlinale Talents and he's an alumnus of 2012. He won the World Cinema Fund in 2016 for Shanko Dhoni, Silence of the Seashell. He got World Cinema Fund production funding of 35,000 euros. All this information is on the website, which is the equivalent of 3.5 million Bangladesh taka. But it was reported that he didn't access the funding because of a time frame commitment. So he reapplied in 2017 and got under a different section, World Cinema Forum Europe. And he got it at 10 for the same or similar script renamed Shikol Baha, meaning Iron Stream, produced by Beginning Productions again, which is his production company with Sarah Afrin and the Weidemann brothers in Germany. So they were a German World Cinema Fund partner and granted 40,000 euros or approximately 4 million Bangladesh taka funding in 2017. So he's moving up the food chain of the festivals from a talent alumnus, actually getting international funds to make his funding through a international partner, production partner. Arifur Bijon's Paradise was also in the Berlinale co-production market. Berlinale Spotlight on Dhaka, we had actually, so building festival relations. So with my senior colleague, Dorothy Benna, who was delegate for South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa then, I had also had the pleasure of coming to Dhaka and making a presentation on the Berlinale Spotlight on Dhaka as to all the different sections that filmmakers in Bangladesh can apply for. And that was a collaboration with the Dhaka Doc Lab, Goethe Institute, and IFIB of Samia Zaman. A very large number of Bangladeshi filmmakers have had their projects or films at the Locarno Film Festivals, Open Doors. Please Google it. There've been a huge number of filmmakers who have had showcased their works and really benefited from being there, because they had a South Asia collaboration focus on South Asia for 3 years from 2016 to 18. And also, of course, many, many other festivals. We're kind of winding down to, that's the last of my presentation. And thank you very much for listening in to the audience at the Shilpakala Academy and also online in India and worldwide. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm very happy to take any questions from the audience, or I don't know if we can take questions online, but I'd be very happy to answer any questions you may have. Please let me know. I think my colleagues will pass the mic to you, so let me know. Are there any questions?
Hi, Meenakshi. It was such an enlightening lecture that you just gave us now, and I think we have many young filmmakers here, and I think they were it was very helpful to them. And we would like to open up the floor for questions. Huh? Okay. So Eric wants to talk, and then maybe we can take more questions. But before Eric starts, I actually have something to ask Meenakshi.
Yes, please.
Go ahead. Okay. So you were talking about the festival strategy, like make a list of like 40 or 50 festivals, and then bring it down to what really applies to our film. And independent filmmakers have really small budgets. So what kind of time and budget do you prescribe us to allocate for a short project?
What is your individual, what kind of time? For example, if supposing we are right now in Jan, you need to look at the life cycle of a festival begins at the time that it's kind of in rough cut edit lock. It kind of, your time starts now kind of. So it's no use saying, oh, I want to be at Cannes, Berlin, Venice, and I really dream of being in Venice, for example, because Venice is around August, September. So you need to, your life cycle of the festival starts around the time you are finishing. So if you're looking at a finishing film now around Jan, you need to look at what film festivals are coming up now, whose deadlines are now. And as I said, the budget, of course, you always ask everybody for a fee waiver. And depending on, so if you think that you're not likely to have your fees waived because there's no guarantee of that, you can only ask, then you limit the number of festivals which are asking fees and apply to those who don't have or are likely to give you. This is just a game you don't know. You have to go along with the game. So there's no one answer to that. It all depends on your persuasiveness and your charm to get fee waivers.
Thank you so much. I'd like to request the next.
But sorry, let me just add a little PS there. So I've been working with Berlin for 22 years, as I said, and we do have, I do get a very limited number of fee waivers, which is specifically not to give filmmakers who are needy and need a fee waiver, but specifically for those films which are very likely to be selected by the festival, which are very good international quality, and cannot afford the fees. So first, You have to make a film that the selection committee would like to select and is world class. And then if you can't afford the fees, then my responsibility is to give you a fee waiver. So if you just write me an email saying, hey, I'm a poor filmmaker from Bangladesh or India or Nepal, and there are millions of, like every filmmaker, even if you're in France or Iran or USA, there are a lot of poor filmmakers there, right? You don't have a monopoly on being a poor indie filmmaker. Sorry. Poor indie filmmakers are worldwide, okay? So we get 1,000 million emails every day because, of course, even from Hollywood, not everybody is born rich. They also have poor indie filmmakers there. So we get these requests all the time. So in my case, or not my case, in the case of Berlin, the fee waiver is not for filmmakers who ask for fee waivers, but for filmmakers who make world-class cinema and cannot afford the fees, then I give it to those, right? So that answers your question.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. We
Well-
hope you stick around,
Yes.
and maybe we'll have some questions then. And right now I'd like to call on stage Arik Anam Khan. He is a young filmmaker, and his film Transit has been making the rounds in the festivals, including Busan.
Yes. Congratulations, Arik. I'm so happy to be able to connect with you. Congratulations on your international journey already.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question is actually, it sort of relates to me and to young filmmakers, such as myself in Bangladesh and as well in South Asia, who basically, want to get that first feature made. And so, as you know, like there's several grants and, a lot of co-production. So what is your suggestion for someone, not only such as myself, but, other young filmmakers, who, because after all, everybody wants to get that feature made, especially if there's a short or two that has gone around the festivals. So what is your suggestion? Because, you've been around, you've, seen, and you've probably seen the growth and journey of several other, young filmmakers who are now, big feature directors. So, what is your suggestion? What have you seen, do's and don'ts and all that?
So Arik, my entire lecture was about that. So for the last 1 hour, I've already answered your question. But to give you some additional tips, I'll just share with you that actually there are, to my mind, two broad schools of filmmaking. One is films. Of course, it's always a filmmaker's dream to get the maximum audience and worldwide filmmaking, etc. Audience as well as markets. So you want to be out on the festival circuit, but not everybody wants international co-production or international money, because that can also bring its own pitfalls. Like if you have a German or French filmmaker, they can say, oh, well, I want this, I would like the film to do this in order to sell it in France or Germany. Whereas you may or may not like that. So there are a lot of filmmakers, films made in South Asia and in the world, which do not want any international money, which are very low budget and really allow you to make the film you want. So when you get international money, it can also be a tricky thing you have to negotiate, because it means you might have to negotiate with that producer who may want you to do some things that you don't like. And a lot of money does not come up upfront. So you don't get all this money upfront and say, do what you like. It often comes in kind. So it means that you have to go and sit in France or Germany or in Korea with a French, or shoot it with a French or Korean cinematographer or editor, learn their language. You may not know Korean or French or German. Work with things that they feel, they say, no, this is too mainstream. This is, you have to make it a great art house film, and he will cut it in a way that you don't like at all. And you think, oh my God, I got all this money and now he's cutting it the way but this is not my film, like this is how French make film, but this is how I want to make a film from Bangladesh. So it's not just, oh my God, wow, I've got all this money and now it's a happy ending. No, it's a real struggle, and it's a creative struggle. So it can also be that you don't want this headache. You just want to make the film you want. You want to make it in 2 months and just wrap it up and make exactly the film you want. Or you're willing to take these risks and the creative struggle and make a larger film that's, which negotiating at each stage. And each of these, so I've already answered your question in this 1 hour. So there's no more specific advice, because it's each of your individual creative journeys and what you're looking for that will actually guide which festivals you want. Like I said, if you're making a feature-length docu, there are accordingly festivals, etc. So you need to customize it to after getting that list of 40 or 50, You customize it to your specific requirements.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Meenakshi, could you maybe turn off the screen share so we can see you in
Oh,
a
yeah.
large.
Ah, sorry. Is that better?
Yes, yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I think the filmmakers here are very shy to ask you questions. Maybe
So
they're
we can
very
ask you in Bangla and you can tell us. How about that? Is
Huh?
that better?
Huh? I'm sorry. I didn't get that. Okay. Hmm? Oh, yeah. বাংলা বলতে পারেন, কোনো সমস্যা নেই। বাংলা বলতে পারেন, আমরা বলে দিচ্ছি। We do have very accomplished young directors with us here, and I don't know how they do all this networking worldwide, and now they're afraid. They're shy to talk to you.
Yes. Well, their journey begins now. They have to talk to you to begin with because their journey begins in this Shilpakala Academy right now. So if they want to get their film into the world, they have to start by talking to you and you can translate. How about they talk to you in Bangla and you translate? Is that what?
Yes, I'll do that. Yeah, I will call by name. We have this filmmaker who has been to talent campuses like in Rotterdam.
Yes.
She has made films and done really well worldwide, but she's shy to talk.
What
Rawan,
is the name, please?
Rawan Sarma. Rawan, একটা question করো।
Wonderful. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hi, Yashkiri, we have talked before. So,
Hi.
Camera.
yeah, thank you. I want to thank you for giving me the address of Tasbih because I watched lots of film there and also was the panel discussion that was effective. And particularly, I don't have question now because I'm listening all of these things from before I attended your last session. So, yeah. But thank you.
For joining us. It's very early in the morning, but and there are many films going on at the same time. So thank you very much for joining. And I wish your film every success or your future career. I think it's very important that filmmakers retain their original voice. I think speaking as a programmer, I really want to share this important insight that when filmmakers make a film for festivals, and they think, okay, what are the kind of films that get selected, and they tailor it accordingly. There are a lot of programmers, including myself, who really get very put off. Like I can smell a festival film a mile off, and I really don't like it. I'm interested in seeing the film that the filmmaker wants to make for himself or herself. What is the story that they want to actually tell, and not the story that they think the festivals want to see? Do you get that difference? It's very important that you tell your own story, the story that you want to tell, because that is what makes it original. That is what makes it different from every other film that we get to receive from all over the world and all over South Asia. So it's very important to be true to yourself. So I hope that encourages you to be original and have a successful career.
Meenakshi, how are you?
Hello, sir. Thank you for inviting me to the session. I hope it was okay.
Everything is all right.
Thank you.
Next year, we have a plan. This year, we wanted to do this, but we couldn't do it.
But congratulations on such a complicated online event. My God, it's crazy. And your staff were very good. Ghalib and Sami are absolutely brilliant, along with Sadia and Sydney and everyone. Fantastic support from the festival. So thank you for that. And congratulations on putting all this online so well.
Thank you, because you have guided them to be equipped. And all of the things, I mean, you have asked so many requirements, and they actually, with this requirement, they got themselves educated. In fact, I mean, this is also kind of you made them with your own way. Anyway, but that is excellent, and we want to continue this online event every year and open air show also.
Yes.
I'm going to say something today through you. next year we are awarding 3 scripts, 5,000 euro, 3,000 euro, 2,000 euro.
Wow.
Through this West
Right.
Meet a script development program, some kind of things. Of course, I need your help, and I'll also bring some other people also to do this.
I'd be
Because-
very delighted. I'd be very delighted. Yeah.
Development, especially our young people need some support
Yes.
to promote them.
I'd be very happy to support you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
And our film festival, focus for this year, we try to communicate with our local filmmakers. Before festival, we had a meeting at the Pack Club. We invite almost every filmmaker, who has submitted their films in our Dhaka festival. It was quite interesting. I mean, a lot of young filmmaker came.
Lovely.
This year we try to accommodate more Bangladeshi films, and we are promoting some films for, films for other festival, other part of the world, and from Dhaka festival selection. So we are trying very hard, in fact, but you know that how complicated it is. I mean, it's not that if you submit the films, it doesn't mean that they will accept you. They ask for your suggestion, they ask for the names, they ask for the films. You do everything, but sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you send 10 films, then they select one. Sometimes you send 3 films, they select 3 of them. Sometimes you send 5 films, there's none of selection. I mean, there's many things happens. Anyway, let's hope for the best, and thank you for your nice presentation.
Onek dhanyavad. Thank you very, very, very much. I'm very grateful to you, Sadia, and everyone who's turned up today and everybody who's tuned in online. Thank you very much. See you next year.
Yeah, before you add, Arik, you want to say? Yeah, Arik want to say something, but you can sing Tagore's song, please.
Who's going to sing? Arik, wonderful, wonderful.
I just wanted to, I missed the first part of your lecture actually, but there's something that has been, something I've learned over the years, especially in my, the festival journey as well, which is, I think, very important for Bangladeshi filmmakers, young films, especially related to shorts. You've extensively covered the feature part of it, but I've found that a lot of young Bangladeshi filmmakers, and this goes to, I think, everybody here as well. For shorts, there is something called an academic qualifying festival. There's BAFTA, there's EFA, there's all these things, and the awareness regarding these festivals are not as much as you would really want. Like what an academic qualifying festival actually means. And for some young filmmakers, I think you did say that we tend to reach for like the big ones, the AAA festival, the Cannes, Venice, Berlin, etc., etc. So I think that there's like the next level where there's, like very small academic qualifying festivals for particularly short films, and maybe, if you could very briefly say something about that and how it is very important for, young filmmakers who have a short and maybe gets into a festival like that, and, you don't know what happens, maybe just a couple of lines.
So Arik, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
No, we see you.
One moment, sorry. Can you see my screen now? One sec.
Not yet.
No, probably the.
Now?
Yeah, now we can see now.
Arik, does that answer your question? I already answered your question in the course of my lecture. I had anticipated your question and already answered it, but I'm sharing this slide with you again, where I've shared a number of these specifically for documentaries and short films. Hot Docs in Toronto, Oberhausen in Germany, Yamagata in Japan, Sheffield in the UK, Clermont-Ferrand in France, Tampere in Finland, IDS FFK Kerala. Shorts are also at a lot of the major festivals, including Cannes, Berlin, etc., etc. So in addition to the specialized festivals for docus and shorts. They're also at the major ones. For example, the Berlin Film Festival is, as I explained, it accepts and encourages all kinds of filmmaking. There's actually a specific section called Berlinale Shorts. And traditionally in previous years, we also had, we do have a regular section called Generation, which is for films with children, focused on children and young adults. But that also had a short section. It's not there this year because of Corona, etc., etc. We're adapting, but it's been there all these years. But the Berlinale short section is very much part of the official selection. It's not considered some tiny country cousin, oh, you know, you young fellows trying any shit. It is a highly competitive, highly respected part of our official selection. So it's treated with a lot of love and a lot of respect. And we take films. Every festival also decides individually. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Every festival defines for itself what is the duration of a short. For the Berlin Festival, it's less than 30 minutes, but there are other festivals for them, it's less than 60 minutes or 45 or whatever it is. So each one has a different definition. So there's never a one answer to any question concerning film festivals because every festival has their own definition of it, right? But as I explained, so also for you to keep in mind that your question, not only for docus and shorts, but a festival like Berlin looks at everything. So I look at everything. So I look at features, I look at docu shorts, I look at animation films, I look at experimental films, I look at student diploma films. Have I left out anything? I look at everything, right? And Berlin accepts everything. It has a home and a place to nurture everything. So it's not that, oh, you know, oh, I'm starting out. Where will I be at Berlin? Berlin is welcoming all of these. So if you make a great film and you're eligible, please send. And really I've shared some tips with you and some of my experience with you, but everything is on Google. People are just too lazy to look and make notes. Everything I've told you, everything that I shared with you is on Google. Only the experience part I've shared, what not to do, what to do, okay. But the information, which festivals, if somebody just sits for half an hour on free Google, you don't have to pay for Google, you're already paying for internet. If you can afford internet, then Google is free. You just have to have the effort to sit for half an hour, 10 minutes, sit and make notes. And that most filmmakers are too lazy to do. And then, sorry, but there's a price to be paid for that. Right? It's your daughter. If you don't want to find a groom who will make your daughter happy for life, if you will trust an algorithm, or you will trust the postman, or you'll trust an assistant director or an AD, are yaar, meri beti ko, you know, शादी के लिए कोई लाके पकड़ के देना, then the consequences are your daughter is going to be stuck with that guy for life, right? That is the problem. Your work is done, but lifelong you will, because I'm assuming that a lot of you are filmmakers dreaming of a career in filmmaking, not a hit and run. Oh, I made a short, or I made one feature and then quickly go back to being software engineers. Maybe you can do both things. But I'm assuming that many people who are listening in at Shilpakala or online are dreaming of a career in film, right? So lifelong, even if you make 20 films, you will always live that your first film was at this. Whereas actually, you know, I could have been at XYZ, but I only ended up with ABC. And that's only because you didn't care. And you thought, and it's, you know, I'm just too tired. Now my AD can do all this calm of all the sending, etc. He can do the sending. He can do the submission. He can do the uploading. But you have to make the festival strategy yourself. If you don't care about it, no problem. Then you have to be prepared for the consequences. If you make a little effort looking at free Google, you'll be so thrilled with the results. I promise you, you'll be unbelievably thrilled that you got in at all these festivals you had never imagined. If you follow the tips that I suggested, your chances of selection are way higher. And this is why I'm sharing my experience with you. So I wish you a lot of success, you and everyone here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Meenakshi. We need to stop the screen share, I think.
Yeah.
Before we say goodbye to you, I want to end with something Meenakshi said in her speech, and it really resonated with us. make the film that you want to see on screen. That is something I think all young filmmakers should keep in mind, because we're constantly trying to make the film that will be picked up by the festival. So we're thinking about the programmers before we're thinking about ourselves.
Yes.
Yes, that is a very great advice to end on. And Meenakshi, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Onek dhanyabad. Onek dhanyabad.
We hope to have you back at our festivals.
Thank you again. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to everyone who came.
We'll go for a tea break for half an hour, and then at 12:30 we'll start the next session. Thank
Good
you.
luck for